Hey, you guys. Hey, I got kind of a long story for you guys. Something's pretty important to me that means a lot to me. I wanted to share it with you guys. And yesterday I was headed back to start my journey back to Utah, and the ferry broke down. And I was talking to one of my friends, and we were talking about how sometimes things happen for a reason that maybe I wasn't supposed to leave yet. So it brings me to a really story that's close to my heart. About 5 years ago, before I came back to Alaska, one of my best friends in my life, his name was Alan Warner. Well, he'd never been to Alaska before, and it was his dream to come up to Alaska and just see it. So we made plans to come up to Alaska, and he was just going to come up for maybe a month, maybe a couple months, and just hang out and go fishing and see Alaska. And he had some underlying health problems, and I used to always tell everybody, all my clients and guests, I used to tell them this story about this Great Pyrenees dog that got stranded high up in the mountains of Utah. And the dog wouldn't leave. He was facing freezing temperatures and starvation, but the dog just wouldn't leave. And he was protecting his sheep, which really to him were his friends. And that was what he was bred for, is to protect those sheep. So anyway, I friended the dog, and it took me about 4 months to actually gain the dog's trust to try to rescue him. And so anyway, I'd tell this story to Al all the time, and he absolutely loved it. And I got to tell you a little something about Alan. He was a wonderful person. He was the type guy that even on your worst day, he could make you smile. He could make you feel like you were worthwhile and that life was beautiful. And he was just one of those friends that you don't meet very often, that just becomes a real true friend to you. And so anyway, we had plans to come up here. We were going to leave July 1st, come up to Alaska. And about 2 weeks before we left, Alan calls me up and he says, Jimmy, come up to my ranch. I got something for you. And so I went up to his ranch, and he took me out to this old barn. And he had this old red metal desk. And he must have known that he had some bad health problems, because he specifically wanted me to have that desk. So he says, I want you to take this desk, and he says, I want you to make me a promise. He says, I want you to promise me that you're going to write a book about that Great Pyrenees dog, and I want you to promise me that you're going to take this metal desk wherever you go, and I want you to pull it out of the back of your truck and put it in whatever beautiful place that you happen to be in where you're riding that day. And I want you to pretty much make me a promise right now that you're going to write that story and share it with the world. So I promised Al that I would, and anyway, about 2 weeks later, Al had a massive heart attack, and he died. And so I canceled my trip to Alaska. I wasn't going to come. And I was just going to stay there and keep running my store and just doing my thing. And then it was about June 29th, I decided, Alan was one of my best friends in my life, and I made him a promise that I was coming to Alaska, and I'm going. And I did, you guys. I loaded up my truck 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just took the necessities to live on the land and live wild. And I actually lived in the truck for 317 days. And one of my biggest goals was to pull that red desk out of the back of my truck and set it in beautiful places all through Alaska. All the places that I was visiting and revisiting from places I had been before or where I'd guided before. And I wrote the book. And I named the book The Legend of Big Boy, Safe or Stranded. And this is the book about the dog. And this is my friend Al, and you can see that smile. You can see how he would he could just make you smile no matter what. He was just a terrific human being, and he'd give you the shirt off his back even if it was 20 below zero and he was freezing cold. He'd take his coat off and say, "Here you go." And Al loved river fishing. He just absolutely loved fishing and hunting, but he loved rivers the most. And so anyway, when Al passed away, it took me about 6 months to write that book. And during the course of the time, I met this lady on this page named Barbara Watson, and I told her the story behind the book, and she wanted to paint oil color painting of the Great Pyrenees dog. So she actually painted this picture of the Great Pyrenees, which looks just like the Great Pyrenees that was stranded up in the mountains. And then she gave me the picture for the cover of this book. So it was like this book was meant to be. And then the book finally got published, and it was really neat for me because I felt like I had made good on my promise to one of my best friends of my life, and that I had in a sense kind of set him free, which came out in another book called Searching for Freedom. But anyway, I was so proud of the book, and I was proud that I used that little old red desk to write the book in. And it was kind of crazy, you guys. That was the only piece of furniture I had in my truck when I came up, and the only reason I brought that is because I promised Alan that I would. And so yesterday when we broke down in the ferry, and I was talking to my friend, and she says, you know, everything happens for a reason. And I thought, what are the chances of this ferry breaking down, especially right now when I'm heading back to Utah? So I got thinking, you know, Alan always wanted to be here in Alaska, and about 3 years ago, I become really good friends with his family while I knew Alan, and his sister sent me up a little vial of Alan's ashes. And so in a sense, Alan has been here with me on this journey. I've had these ashes on my dashboard for almost 5 years now. And so I came up here today thinking, well, maybe there was something that I needed to do before I leave Alaska. Maybe I need to leave a piece of one of my best friends of my life here. And where more could you find a better spot than one of Alaska's beautiful rivers that's gonna go down to the ocean and go all over Alaska and maybe even the world. So I came down here to share this special moment with you guys, and I'm gonna set Alan free, even though it's just a little piece of him, and I'm leaving him here in the river, and I'm setting him free. And it's really pretty special to me to know that even though Alan passed away before he could make it up here to Alaska with me, that in kind of an absurd way, he has been with me in my heart and in my thoughts and my memories. But now there's a little piece of him in this rolling river, one of Alaska's most beautiful rivers, that's going to last forever. And I don't know if that makes any sense to a lot of you guys, but you know, sometimes those little things, I'm a big believer in things that are supposed to be and supposed to happen. There's always a reason behind them. And so I don't know if, I'm sure probably it's not why the ferry broke down. In fact, I'm probably positive. But you know, to me, it was an eye-opener that maybe it's time that I set my friend free, because with me heading back to Utah, life is precious, you guys. You know, something bad could happen, or I might not be able to make it back to Alaska, or you know, the store might not sell, or you just never know, you guys. So I got thinking about it early this morning. I got thinking, you know, I'm going to come back to Alaska no matter what, if Heavenly Father, you know, if it's in His will for me to do that. And if my store sells and I can come back buy another place, I'll be back in a couple months. But I got thinking, you never know what's going to happen in those couple months. And so I wanted to set my friend Alan free and tell you guys about this book, The Legend of Big Boy Safer Stranded. And it was kind of neat, you guys. The book really went big. It went all over the United States. And if there's any LDS people out there, one of the 12 apostles for the LDS Church, his name is Gary Stevenson, and he broadcasted this same dog, and he was so impressed with the dog that he did it over the national conference for the Mormon Church, and it went all over the United States. And he compared the demeanor of this dog to that of Jesus Christ, and the sheep to all of us, where the dog was protecting the sheep, just like Jesus Christ protected us and still is protecting us. And so if you ever get a chance to read that, it was in 2018 General Conference. It's called Shepherding Souls by Gary Stevenson, where he brings up this dog. And So anyway, I just couldn't think of a more fitting place. As much as my friend Alan loved people and loved to make people happy and do kind things for people, I wanted to share a really special thing to me about my friend Alan Warner, and kind of a memorial for him, and kind of a goodbye for me. I missed the ferry. Now I'm not going to be able to get out of here for a couple more weeks, but I wanted to make sure that my friend Alan was taken care of, and that a piece of him will always be here in Alaska, where he always wanted to come, and it was his dream to be. And it was also a promise that I made to him that I'd finish that book called The Legend of Big Boy, Safe or Stranded. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Kind of hard for me to come down and let Alan go, but after 5 years, I needed to set his spirit free, and I all of a sudden I feel really a lifted spirit off of me right now, like Alan's just smiling down from heaven, because I know in spirit he's been with me this whole time. And anyway, I hope you guys have a really nice Thanksgiving, and that it's just full of blessings and love and kindness and good food, and lots of smiles and laughter, and just full of love, you guys. Hope you have a really awesome Thanksgiving. And anyway, guys, I'm gonna go get my fishing pole and come right back down here. I've seen 2 steelhead roll while I've been standing here making this video. They're just right here. The steelhead love a fast ripple on the top, but soft water on the bottom. So this is really a perfect steelhead hole. So I'm gonna go get my fly rod and come on back down here and do a little fishing. And maybe that'll bring me some good luck scattering Al's ashes here in this hole. Maybe he'll get down there and make those steelhead bite on my fly. And if he doesn't, that's okay too. And anyway, I sure appreciate all you guys, and again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys. Appreciate you, and appreciate all your kind remarks on this wonderful page, and I just think the world of so many of you guys, and you've become good friends to me. Anyway, sending you guys a great big smile from down here on the river here in Alaska, and you guys have a super nice day full of blessings. Okay guys, we'll see you later. All right, bye-bye.